Hey everyone, welcome to this week's weekly chat. So you've decided to sell your investment unit, but it's tenanted. How do we maximize the value on that property? Watch now. Hey everyone, welcome to this week's weekly chat. Today, Kyle brought up a topic when we were discussing what we're going to talk about this week. And he's like, you know what, let's talk about the value of staging a unit. And the first thing that came to my mind is lame. We don't send out spring cleaning tips, the best recipe. Everyone talks about that. And then I sat on a little bit and I opened up to the topic, but we're going to go more into detail about the whole process of selling, if you're selling a unit, and what you're dealing with a tenant-wise. But first, Kyle, because Kyle's our behind-the-scenes guy, when we get a new listing, he's organizing the listing and he's helping it to get into first date condition. And what I mean by first date is that buying a property is very much like going on a first date. You're only in the property for 5 minutes, really, and you're making your decision based on all the stimulus around you. Kind of similar if you're on a first date. Within the 5 minutes, you're making a decision on the person.
Yeah, that first impression is the first impression, right?
So Kyle's going to talk about some things on the staging side-wise, and then I'm going to get into talking about selling a unit with a tenant and some of the challenges that come with that. So go ahead, Kyle.
Yeah, and when I had initially brought up the idea, it was because we had staged a couple units recently. Mm-hmm. But I like how you took the step back and you said, that's a microscopic view. I want the macroscopic, the wider view. And ultimately, how do we maximize the value when you're selling a unit? Mm-hmm. So that's what we're ultimately going to talk about today. Mm-hmm. And there's many different things that we do to maximize value. And really, it depends on the situation. No two listings are ever the same. Right?
No, not at all, no.
Some owners, they live in it. They keep it in immaculate condition. They have amazing taste. We walk in, take pictures, and put it up. There's nothing we need to do. Other ones, there might be tenants in there, completely cluttered, and it is not able to be shown in the state that it's in. So we may need to do painting, repairs, all that sort of stuff. So we really take an individual look and approach on each individual listing that comes up. So some of the common things that we do are often painting. We'll assess the unit, see if there's any funky paint color. Some people like bright reds or vivid, violets and purples.
And it's nothing against your taste. If the wall may look beautiful, but the thing is you want to cater to the largest possible audience. So the neutral is best. It just let's cater to male, let's cater to female, let's cater to young, let's cater to old. So that's where, if you're going out there on a certain color or a taste pattern, it may not cater to the maximum number of people.
Yep, and that's one of the basic fundamentals of staging or getting a unit ready is to depersonalize it. So you want to make it have that vast appeal, and it's not going to be one specific genre. It's going to be open to everyone. So painting, we'll assess it, see if there are paint colors that we need to put into a neutral palette, or if there are scuffs or other damage to the walls that we should repair that buyers are going to notice. So we'll do that first evaluation.
And think of those, scuffs and minor repairs, that kind of thing. Those are those ex-girlfriends of the past or ex-boyfriends of the past that people see through in those first 5 minutes or 10 minutes in that date-wise. So we're trying to get over those humps. We don't want people to see those past damages that may
be lingering.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we're going to fix those. And typically costs range from about $700 to $2,000 depending on the scope of painting that's required. Mm-hmm. One of the biggest things that we do, though, is to declutter the property.
Oh, Kyle, like guys, the amount of work that Kyle puts in he's not decluttering the property himself. The detailed scripts that he provides to the owners after his review of the properties, giving them exact detail on what they need to do to declutter the space. And you spend a whole afternoon on that, don't you?
Sometimes, yeah, it can be quite detailed depending on the work that's required. Mm-hmm. But it makes an imaginable difference. When you go into a unit and there's boxes and furniture piled in there versus it being wide open and you can walk around it, the showing is night and day. And that's one of the biggest benefits that we see is that decluttering process. And that's something that we help the owner do and have services to help store the items as well. And then we'll also take a look if there are any other repairs that need to be done. Say,
actually, you know what? Let's scale it back. I think the storing is an important thing to reference point wise. So the one of the hurdles we always came up with before is people would be like, okay, well, that's great, Alex. You know, you don't think the couch caters to the maximum audience. I don't know what am I going to do with the couch. So do you want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, so we get it out of there. We coordinate with different service providers to actually pick up the items, the furniture, boxes, anything that needs to move off of the property, and then they actually store it. It'll be stored in climate-controlled environment. They're fully insured, so there's no risk, or if there is any damage, they'll take care of it. And
they're moving it.
And they're moving it.
It's key.
But we'll be there as part of that process to help facilitate it because we've given them instructions and have coordinated with the owners. So the owners don't even need to be home. Oftentimes, most of the time, they're not actually home and we're doing it all on their behalf. So they come home and things are totally changed. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So yeah, an incredibly valuable service, but it's that extra mile that we go for our clients and it does make a significant difference.
What's their line? Maximizing wealth, minimizing stress.
Exactly.
That's the minimizing stress part.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. Yep. And as part of that evaluation, then we'll see if there are any other repairs that need to be done. Minor things, caulking is a very common one that we tend to do. If there's any mold in the bathroom, we'll fresh all of that up because it does look dramatically better when you do that. And we'll coordinate
dirt under the fingernails, right, guys? Yeah. You know, person could be perfect, but if you saw dirt under the fingernails, you know, you're going to be kind of grossed out by the person across from you.
Yeah, exactly. And that leads into the cleaning of the unit as well, where
stains on the shirt. Stains on the shirt.
Got to get those off. Or the carpets, we'll have those professionally cleaned depending on the situation. But we'll do a deep scrub of the unit, including appliances. There's nothing grosser than opening up that microwave or that oven. Is completely caked with years of food.
Yeah, no, we have great cleaners that do all this. And a lot of you guys may know this, but this is really refresher wise and having all these little steps and all the different people involved. Mm-hmm. You know, mm-hmm. How many, like you're coordinating with cleaners, you're coordinating with the stagers, coordinating with the movers, photographers, videographers.
Might be looking at a dozen different people by the
mm-hmm.
time to get a listing to market. So it is quite an extensive process. So then we have the stage set, but now we need to finalize it. And oftentimes what we do is we'll work with a staging company or we do have some of our own inventory that we'll bring in to make it really pop and give it that dramatic look. The wow factor that
mm-hmm.
we like to call it. Mm-hmm. So depending on the situation, we may bring in additional furniture or typically accessories. Towels are a big thing. White towels, there's nothing nicer. Getting rid of old shower curtains that are kind of moldy and mildewy. Stuff like that super easy to do, but people often overlook, and it makes a significant difference. The feel when you go into a nice clean unit that has all nice bright stuff in it.
And people are busy.
Mm-hmm.
Like
mm-hmm.
people don't have time to do this. You know, my wife and I, we have one child. We were expecting our second very, very shortly wise. It's amazing how there is no time. So the amount of stress to get a property ready is just, it's crazy.
Yeah, and we take on that stress, so that becomes my problem. Mm-hmm. But we've coordinated so many different things for clients as well. We've had to find and bring in a patio table. We've had to...
The grass, remember the grass?
Oh, the grass carpet as well, yeah. Mm-hmm. So, you know, we fully did that. Gotten rid of large bulk items, stored things off site. You know, we're problem solvers for our clients. Mm-hmm. It's not that this is your problem. It's like, let's figure out what's the issue and then how can we tackle it together.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's amazing our hair isn't gray.
Getting there.
And then, okay, so we're on all that. Do we want to continue on that, or is there any more on that?
Well, I think that's pretty much the basics. Those are the big ones. Obviously, you know, we're going to maximize value by creating marketing content, posting it to our website, sending it out to our YouTube viewers like yourselves, our network, our sphere of influence, and really maximizing that.
And that's how between the maximizing the wealth and minimizing the stress. Now, that's all assuming if you live in the unit. Mm-hmm. This is where I thought it got interesting when we started to talk about this topic, because we're talking to you, investor wise. So let's say it's a time. Okay, we're managing our portfolio. It's time to unload a unit for whatever reason wise, depreciating returns in the building wise, rebalancing the portfolio, sending a child to university, switching from an appreciating portfolio to a cash flow portfolio. Various things. There's a reason you may be selling, which
Life
is okay.
happens.
Life happens. Okay, so now our unit is tenanted. So all that stuff Kyle described, it becomes a lot more difficult.
That nice stuff.
Yeah,
out the window sometimes.
And really, if you have the ability to sell the unit without the tenant in the property, you will make a tangible amount more. A percentage amount more having no tenant in there versus having a tenant in there. So when you look at having a tenant in your property when you're selling it wise, the tenant has negative motivation for your unit to sell, because you are taking that individual's home, because they view it as their home. You're taking an individual's home away from them and selling that asset off. So if we're able to have a unit, well, the question comes, Alex, is it better to sell the unit with the tenant or vacant wise? If I have the option, always vacant. When we need vacant wise, we don't want to sell a unit vacant. So we always want to have what Kyle does in the back end, getting it to its wow shape. We always want that versus a vacant unit. The reason being, when anyone walks into a vacant unit, they go, oh my God, this space is small. Where is this going to go? Where is this going to go? Where is this going to go? You'd like to think that people have imagination and can put those images in there. They cannot. You need to define the space for them, and then you provide the wow factor to them, that nice shiny new car, that first date, that great impression. That is what you want to provide. I don't get any of that when I have a tenant in the property wise. I have no control over what the unit is going to look like behind that door. And there are cases that tenants are great behind the door. But what I find for the most cases, it's not that. It may be in okay shape. It could be in not great shape. And because remember, that tenant is living in their home and catering to their own personal tastes. We can't cater to the broad range because you have an individual that's, again, calling it their home. Also taking arrangements for showings wise. Mm-hmm. Now we have to keep the tenant on side for our showings. They become somewhat of a gatekeeper. So even legally, do we have the ability to show the unit with 24 hours notice? Yes, but then ultimately you still have to get in the unit. And if the tenant is really a gatekeeper on that, things can get difficult. And now, not only will it not be in good showing shape inside the unit, we're not even able to show the unit, or there's a very limited period that we can get in the unit to show it.
Yeah, it can be very tough working around their schedule sometimes. Mm-hmm. Sometimes they have pets that they want to be home with or to take out while showings are going on that we have to work around. Their schedules, they may work at night when...
They're great. Not everyone is 9 to 5, and that's okay. We're definitely not 9 to 5. And we are in a 24-hour a day, 7-day-a-week economy. So the tenant in there, may not be working on that. And we recently had a case, lovely tenant, great tenant, and they did have a pet, and it was a dog that sounded scary. But a very nice dog. But the couple did not work regular hours. They had good jobs and they catered to the overall fabric of society, but they just did not work normal hours, and they had a loud sounding dog that also had some health issues. They all come but very lovely people. That created a very small window because they had to take the dog out whenever we had showings wise. And we were able to get it sold fairly quickly, but it does create its own challenges. If there was no tenants in there and we would have put the WOW package in and everything like that, there would have been a marketable difference on the final sales price, but we don't have control over those options. So that also goes into the next fact, is that when we're looking at someone's space and we're marketing it online, the individual that calls to that home, it may be a disservice for me to take photos of their belongings in their house and posting those online. And their tenant also has a right to say, no, I don't want you taking photos and marketing the unit with my personal belongings online. That is their legal right. So what you always want to do as an investor wise is you always want to take photos as soon as you get the property so that we have those on file. So we're always able to market the space at a minimum in its original condition. It would be an empty unit, but people then can at least see it. And then we have that marketing tool so people can come and look at the unit. Because once we have a tenant move in, I probably don't have, or we don't have an opportunity to take photos of that unit again. And if we're not able to sell the unit empty with the tenant that already vacated the unit, then those photos become invaluable to us to allow for the marketing wise. So you always want to take those photos and then save those photos. Those photos are very, very, very important. And when we say take those photos, I don't mean on your camera. I mean, you got it, and not even yourself if you think you're a professional photographer. You need the right photographer, a real estate photographer, to come in because they format the photos correctly so that they can be marketed online correctly wise. Because often we get people, they go, oh, we got these great photos. I took them on my own. I got this whatever digital lens, that kind of thing. It's still not the right photos for real estate marketing purposes wise. So
yeah, it is a very niche skill set.
Very, very, very niche. And really what it comes down to, if we're renting it for you, we have our professional photographer always going in, taking the photos wise, and those are all saved on photos. But if you're coming, if you're meeting us later on down the road, or you're getting this unit, you're renting on your own, find a real estate photographer, pay the $100, $150, $200, whatever it is, pay that money, get the photos, save the file. You will need those in the future wise, because if you decide to sell the unit and the tenant is still living there and the tenant hasn't given you notice, you don't have the ability to get the tenant out before you sell the unit wise. So you're going to be in a situation where you have to sell the unit with the tenant in it. And that's when we're going to need those photos wise. Oh, I love that line right there. Cal's got a little teleprompter for us. Get a spare key. Nothing drives me more nuts than when someone reaches out to us and we're like, okay, Alex, we have this great condo. We're watching your videos. We want to do certain things. We want to sell it or we want to rent it out. I'm like, that's great. Can I have a key? And they're like, no, we gave all our keys to the tenant. Yeah. Are you crazy? Like, you've just eliminated your access to your own space. You do not have any keys to your unit. Always keep a spare key. Now, it's not the end of the world. There are ways to get keys. A lot of buildings, they have a central key system wise. And if you have the number on the key, you can go to either property management. Property management may have the number. Or you can go to the service provider and get a key cut to keep those keys on file. But if you just have the regular key, you're going to want to make arrangements to get a key, or just call a locksmith, change a lock, and if the tenant's not going to give you a key, and then redistribute keys. You should always have a key. You are the owner of the property. Can you tell the people on camera that too? Tell them to keep. You got your keys, right?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Okay, keep your keys.
It's really an insurance policy if you ever need to go in for whatever reason. So always get the key.
Yeah,
get an extra key, get a spare.
The people that are renting it or selling it need access to the unit to do that, and we cannot rely on the tenant to provide us access. So
now fob access can be a little bit trickier. Property management sometimes does limit your fob.
So 100%,
you can always get in talking to concierge.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, fob access is different. Wise, we need a key to access the unit. You need a key to access the unit. I'll give you another example. This is not even on us. Okay, you're like, Alex, we've been watching the videos. Okay, we're going to go through a refinance, or we're going to get a home equity line of credit on the property wise. We got tons of equity built in there. Okay, the bank's going to need to do an appraisal. Well, how is the appraiser going to access the unit if you don't have a key to let the appraiser in? And then you're going to run around trying to coordinate with the tenant to access the unit wise. As the owner of the unit, 24 hours notice, you can access the unit. If you've given all your keys away, you have now eliminated your ability to access the unit. Now you're relying on the tenant to provide you with access to the unit. And the tenant may be in a busy schedule. The tenant could be away on vacation. There's various things that happen out there where you need to maintain access on the unit. Sorry, I went on a bit of a tangent there, but it's something of a pet peeve of mine when someone says they do not have keys to the unit.
Most people might not even know that too. So
no, I know a
very
lot of
valuable lesson.
Sorry, yes. I apologize if I offended anyone out there, but get a key. And if you don't have a key, it's okay. It's okay. You know now. Go get a key now. Speak with the tenant now, because when the situation comes up, when you need a key, it's going to be an incredibly difficult circumstance at that time. So I'm going to stop talking about that now, because I'll keep on going on. Anything else we should talk about?
I don't think so.
Okay, so, I think I kind of went on a bit of a negative on talking with the things with the tenants-wise. Honestly, you get AAA tenants in your property-wise. These are the people that are paying down the mortgage. These are the people that are making you wealthy over the long term. Your tenants are your assets. You want to maintain a great relationship with your tenants-wise. I just wanted to show you how you're going to navigate some of those pitfalls. It's not hard to deal with these situations, as long as you put the different steps in place as you go along. And you are able to sell a unit when you still have a tenant in there and everything like that. But there are ways to still maximize your value, and that's when you call us and we talk about different strategies when a unit's tenanted. What are our options there? What are your goals for the property-wise? Let's talk about the overall picture to what makes the most sense for what you need to do with your investment asset. And at the end of the day, if your tenant gave you notice and you have the ability to have the unit vacant, then we can stage unit and everything like that. There's different strategies for every different situation, is what we wanted to show you with today's video, if we're in a situation when we're taking our investment asset and we're looking at selling it. That good?
Great.
Okay. Well, guys, enjoy your day, your evening, your weekend, your week, all that kind of stuff. We're here helping you build generational wealth, financial freedom. Did I even introduce us today, or did I just got into it, didn't I? Alex Wilson from alexjwilson.com, and Kyle DeVici, Director of Operations for Remax Wealth Builders. Hope everyone's good, and we'll talk soon. Bye-bye.
Bye.